Thank you for listening to this Podcast One production. Available on Apple Podcasts and Podcast One.
There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers. A dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends. A place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view. But when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Hello and welcome. You're tuned into the best in paranormal talk radio. It's Saturday. This is Beyond the Darkness. I'm Dave Schrader. That guy over there sitting at the supernatural news desk is Mr. Tim Dennis. Hello, Tim.
Hello.
Are you ready with the stories of the strange and unusual for the week?
About as ready as I'll ever be.
Well, that's a good start. Let's begin then, shall we? Where are we going this week? And first of all, I guess, have you seen any movies this week we should talk about?
Trying to think if I have seen any movies this week.
I guess that'd be a big no, so we'll hold off on reviews this week, I guess.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't think I have seen any movies this week.
You know what I did see? I watched, there was a documentary on our buddy Kane Hodder, who played Jason Voorhees.
Yep.
I saw it on Amazon Prime, so I watched it. It came out last year. Really a good documentary.
How is he doing anyways?
He's doing good. I guess I've reached out to him. Actually, I wanted to talk to him about his documentary and his life. And while we were watching the documentary, they were not advertising, but they kept talking about the Hatchet movie series, which I think is now on its fourth movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to admit, I'd never seen one of the Hatchet movies. So my kids and I sat down and watched a couple of my older kids and I sat down and watched the first Hatchet. And it's kind of funny. It's got this kind of vibe when it starts off of being almost satirical of Friday the 13th style movies.
Okay.
You know, I mean, it's just kind of very campy. And then things halfway through go horribly wrong. And it's really bizarre. So I would say that, that was a fun movie to watch. And all four are available on Amazon. I think you have to pay for the first one, which I paid all of $3.95. But then 2, 3, 4 all seem to be free. Huh. So if you're looking for a good horror franchise to start up with, and you don't mind a blatant kind of, and even in the documentary, they really don't skirt the issue that it's basically a blatant ripoff of Friday the 13th.
Really?
So then I found another show online. It's on YouTube, and it's a fan fiction movie. Now, I know a lot of you are already starting to tune out on me when I said that, but this fan film is awesome, and I mean it awesome. If you are a fan of the Friday the 13th franchise, you have to watch Never Hike Alone. Okay? And this movie is what the newest installment of Friday the 13th should have been. I'm going to pull it up while we're chatting here again because I want to it's like an hour long.
Okay.
So, I mean, it feels like it's, I hate to say this, it's filmed better than Hatchet, which had an actual budget, right?
Okay.
The cinematography is really well done. The acting is really good. And it's kind of, the whole concept is it's this kind of urban, not even urban legend kind of guy. This guy's like an outdoorsman, and he is like any other YouTuber. He goes out and he videotapes himself doing things and going to remarkable places, and he's out hiking and showing you how he lives off the land and blah, 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 and then stumbles upon Camp Crystal Lake, this area that's been shut off to people for 30 years. And he goes in and kind of recounts the story of Jason Voorhees. And then, sure enough, there are a few times you start seeing Jason pop up in the background while he's filming, and he doesn't realize it. And then he starts getting stalked. It's called Never Hike Alone. It's 53 minutes and 42 seconds long. Well worth the watch. If you like the Friday the 13th franchise, I would highly recommend it. And I don't want to give anything away, but there's a really cool tie to the actual series. And they're very open in the beginning. They're like, hey, we have no affiliation with the people involved in this. You know, this is just fans love the series, created this, but there is a special guest star at the end of the movie that fans of the original franchise are going to know and recognize, returning to the role that he started in the original Friday the 13th. And I guess the article that's been out there says that the company that made this, Womp Stomp Films, is basically saying, all right, whatever, they're going to do a sequel to it. And incorporate this battle that's been 40 years in the making, right? So, or not even, maybe 30 years in the making. But it was great. I don't know how much more to say about it other than that. I don't want to give any of the other factions of it away, but it's really well done. So check out Never Hike Alone, a Friday the 13th fan film. It's a full movie you can see, and I guess you can actually order copies of it where you do donations, and they will send you a copy. So they talk about how you can do that as well.
I'll tell you, that sounds pretty cool. I'll tell you the one thing I have seen, actually I've watched quite a bit of the last couple of days online, and that is the new It trailer.
Yes.
Yeah, I have. I've been pretty intrigued by it. I don't know. This one looks, just by the trailer, and you know, you get so much from trailers, and that's because they are trying to entice you into seeing the movie. But for some reason, this trailer for this movie looks a lot more intense than the last movie. I got to say, the last movie, I was a little bit let down. From the trailer to the movie, there was a little bit of a letdown for me. But this one looks like they might have picked it up a notch. I know they did.
Wait a minute. You thought the last movie was a letdown?
I think I'm saying from the trailer to the movie, the trailers for it made it look a little more intense. No, I'm not saying the movie was a letdown. Don't get me down. I'm saying, you know, there's a ratio of trailer to movie in sellability. So you can sit and watch a trailer, okay, and they'll say, okay, you know, coming soon, blah 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 blah, and you get hyped for the trailer, and you come in, and then you sit down for the movie. And so there's a sellability factor, if you catch what I'm saying.
I'm with you. I'm with you. And right, this one definitely comes out swinging balls to the wall. The first ad was really good and freaky, but this new one that they just released from San Diego Comic-Con, they're saying this is the final one, which I hope it is, because I don't want them to keep giving away too much of this movie. But I thought it looks fantastic.
There was one figure that came out of San Diego Comic-Con, which actually intrigues me. And this is the figure, Dave. Most amount of fake blood ever used on a movie set. 4,500 gallons. Yeah, 4,500 gallons in this movie.
Wow, that's crazy. Because I would have thought like the original Nightmare on Elm Street with the Johnny Depp scene where they were pumping blood out of the bed would have probably been the first one. You
would think, or even The Shining with the elevator.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
You would
Very
think.
Cool.
Yeah, but that's your weird fact about It 2 here. But yeah, that'll make it a little bit more intriguing for you. But yeah, that trailer is online now, and it's so I keep watching it, trying to figure out where the 4,500 gallons of fake blood comes in. But yeah, it's intriguing to me. I don't know why, but I've been intrigued with that trailer all week long. Yeah.
All right, well, let's get to it. It's Scaredurday. You like that, Scaredurday?
I see what you did.
And Supernatural News Parashare is here. It's time to dive into the weird news from around the world this week. And we do have a new story that was our most sent story of the week. And we'll cover that in a little bit. Tim, I knew that you would be especially fond of it once I saw the headline. So let's get started in the rest of the stories. Where shall we begin this week's Supernatural news?
Dave, I want to start in Florida. Pasco County My old...
Dun, 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 dun,
well,
dun, dun,
I
dun, dun, dun.
don't think that's the theme for Florida. They don't have any culture there in Pasco County.
I'm sorry. Is that better?
Like yeah, that's more like it. You may not believe in little green men or UFOs, but if you do... I got a bridge to sell you. Any Florida insurance agency may have you covered. They've got insurance to sell you. Mike St. Lawrence owns the St. Lawrence Agency located in Altamonte Springs His agency offers limited or comprehensive alien abduction insurance.
Sign me up. How do I get it?
And if you're going to Area 51, by the way, you may want to double up on this. St. Lawrence said, I went and I looked at my homeowner's insurance policy to see if I was covered for a risk like this, and I was not. That's the direct quote. St. Lawrence, who says he's in the humor business, quote unquote, has sold close to 6,000 policies since 1987. 6,000. The policies...
Wrong damn business.
Yeah, I know, right? The policies cost $19.95, Dave. I want you to mull that around for a minute. 6,000 policies, $19.95. If policyholders feel like splurging and spending $24.95, they can get a certificate that St. Lawrence says is suitable for framing. $19.95, $6,000.
Not $6,000, 6,000.
Or 6,000 rather. Yeah. But I'm thinking 6,000, and then 1995, and then they carry the one. That's a lot of guns.
That's a lot of money. Yeah.
Each policy includes $10 million worth of coverage.
Nice.
As well as outpatient psychiatric care, sarcasm coverage, that's included, and double identity coverage. Policyholders can claim to be eligible for double the standard coverage, but that payout would be based on verifiable and extreme circumstances. There's your keywords right there, verifiable and extreme circumstances. Ultimately, St. Lawrence says if you purchase a policy, make sure to have a sense of humor. I take a very open mind approach to this. Whether it's happening or not, but if you get one of our policies, show you have a sense of humor about it. That's what he went on to say. So how do you file a claim? Well, that part can be tricky. To start the process, you have to obtain a signature from an authorized onboard alien.
I like that. That leaves that plausible deniability in that.
Yeah. I don't think you're gonna be able to file a claim on this one. Some way you have to be able to prove it, and I've had a couple of exceptions where they didn't get a signature, said St. Lawrence. Just in case, you might want to read the fine print. The policy states that the payments to you or your beneficiaries are $1 per year for 10 million years. There's your other exception. $1 per year, 10 million years.
Yeah, well, that's something. Yeah. That's something at least.
Yeah.
That means my family's covered in perpetuity, pretty much.
Ooh, nice word.
I've got one of them Thesauruses books.
Yeah, evidently you keep it in your back pocket.
Yep.
St. Lawrence has paid at least 2 claims since he started writing policies, so he's putting out about $2 a year here, Dave. One policy, that's my big math there. One policyholder submitted a Polaroid picture with alleged aliens as proof. So evidently he got the big payout of $1 a year. Recently, St. Lawrence has created a unique policy specifically for the latest viral phenomenon, the Area 51 raid. He's ready, Dave. But this policy comes with a warning, and here it is. St. Lawrence cautions those wanting to storm Area 51 to see them aliens, that's in quotes, that he will make good on the policy, but it's a dangerous mission. He says, quote, it is activated if you go in and you don't come out. If I could give advice, it would be to stay home because this is a military site and they probably take blocking people from getting in seriously. Really? Oh, shit.
There's that, yep.
Mm-hmm. St. Lawrence and his business have also seen some success on the big screen and was briefly featured in the 1997 film Contact. If alien abduction is not one of your concerns, St. Lawrence offers asteroid insurance. And reincarnation
I
insurance.
need that because, man, I've been getting a lot of those lately, and the preparation H just isn't helping.
Well, it does come with the wipes. It comes with the wipes and the cream. Yeah, the insurance does.
Nothing worse than an asteroid burning up for you.
Oh, yeah. Boy, oh, boy. Reincarnation insurance is also available from St. Lawrence. He also claims to have written famed actress Shirley MacLaine a policy, so there's a little bit of claim to fame for St. Lawrence. You can learn more about St. Lawrence and his zany businesses on his website. We'll let you hit the search engines to find him. I think he's making enough money on his own.
Yeah, go for it. We might open up our own version of an insurance company.
Sure, why not?
Anal probing, alien anal probing insurance, abduction by a lake monster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was your Minnesotan came out there, Tim.
Yeah, we'll cover you if you run into Peppy here over in Lake Pepin.
All right. Well, you might as well follow up with the next story since we're kind of on that alien thread.
Sure. We're going to meet the guy behind the Area 51 page. He is terrified of what he's created, Dave. He's created a monster, almost literally here. It's a living, breathing, moronic page. I just watched a story about this the other night, too. It's out of control. It's all fun and games until you accidentally incite a giant mob to raid a top secret military base, Dave. The internet's been buzzing with excitement about a Facebook event titled Storm Area 51. They can't stop us or stop all of us. I have news for you. They can. With 1.6 million people having clicked going and another 1.2 million have indicating that they're interested on the event page. Interested just means they'll watch it all from the internet. Hitherto cloaked in mystery, the man behind the legend has stepped forward. The legend. On June 27th, Matty Roberts, who lives in California, created the Facebook page as a joke. He says joke because he doesn't want to end up thrown down a hole and never seen forever. Not realizing that millions would rally behind his battle cry to see them aliens, as he puts it. See them aliens in quotes, at the Air Force facility in Nevada. Most but not all knew the desert congregation scheduled for September 20th was in jest, as the page included instructions such as, quote, if we narrow to run, we can move faster than their bullets. Let's see them aliens. For the uninitiated, narrow to run is a reference to a type of running in a popular anime show. Naruto? Naruto? I don't know. I'm not into anime, Dave. I get out of my basement every once in a while.
Yeah. Not often, but every once in a while.
Naruto run? I'm going to get a bunch of stuff from anime people.
That is not how you say it, Tim. That is Naruto.
That's why I think part of this is funny, because there are all these people that are posting and, these people are morons. And they've never even read the full post, which was obviously all done tongue-in-cheek and in jest. So of the million plus, I'm sure they're doing it along the lines of having fun with it as well. Now, there are probably a handful of wingnuts that think, yeah, hell yeah, let's storm it. But for the most part, it's blatant that this guy is joking around and was just creating a satirical commentary. So for all the people that are getting upset about it, I've had emails that are like, why aren't you covering this? Why don't you? Because it's a satirical story that has no bearings in reality. And the fact that the Air Force this last week felt that they had to answer.
Well, they should answer because it's getting a little out of control.
But it's not. I mean, to me, it's they should answer about what? About some guy who posted a joke and says, hey, in the posting, the original posting goes, obviously this is a joke. I'm not really going to storm Area 51. So he's clear in his indication throughout. And like I said, the only reason it's picked up all the steam is because people are getting a kick out of it. If September, 19th rolls around, I would be surprised if more than 50 people showed up to this thinking it was real. I would literally be surprised. Now, I know that they've decided to get together and, throw kind of an alien Woodstock, I think, is what's going to happen instead. Now, people are, obviously decided that this is going to be a lot of fun. But I don't know that that's any indicator of how many people will show up for some other kind of event that might have alien connotations. But I don't think, to me, it's just silly that people are so wound up about it and that the Air Force even felt the need to respond. You get 1,300,000 people to sign up saying, yeah, let's storm it on a joke website. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you after I get done reading the story why they had to make that statement.
Okay.
So Maddie's a little afraid that the FBI may be knocking at his door, and here's why. He says, quote, I waited for like 3 days and there were like 40 people, and then it just completely took off out of nowhere. He told CNN affiliate KLAS TV in Las Vegas. It was pretty wild, he said. Roberts told KLAS that he's declined interviews as interest was skyrocketing because he thought if he revealed his identity, he might have FBI agents showing up at his door. I was like, the FBI is going to show up at my house, and it got a little spooky from there, he said. Roberts said he came up with the idea for the meme page after podcaster Joe Rogan interviewed Area 51 whistleblower Bob Lazar and filmmaker Jeremy Corbell. Lazar claims he worked with an alien spacecraft when he was employed in one of Area 51's underground facilities. Before coming out to KLAS, Roberts communicated with NPR via Facebook Messenger under the pseudonym Val. I just thought it would be a funny idea for the meme page, he wrote. Roberts/Val also said that, although he doubted he'd have an actual army gathered to run into Area 51 this September, he'd be in touch with some pretty great people to plan a safer yet still out-of-this-world desert event. For its part, the Air Force told the Washington Post that Area 51 is an open training range for the U.S. Air Force, and we would discourage anyone from trying to come into the area where we train American armed forces. CNN also reached out to Roberts to talk more about his outline sensation and how he might wield his newfound following. And CNN says, we'll let you know when we make first contact. Now, here's why the Air Force, Dave, has to make this statement, because here's what happens. Even if you set up for some sort of festival, or even if they apply for permits for a festival, what comes with music? Alcohol and drugs. What happens when people get drunk or high? They get a little unruly. What happens when they get unruly? They decide, hey, let's jump the fence.
They make sweet, sweet love, Tim. They just lay around and listen to make sweet, sweet love and listen to hippie music.
Some do, but then others go, let's jump the fence. And the minute that some of them decide, let's jump the fence, that's when things start getting unruly. So the Air Force, so that they're in the clear, puts that disclaimer out there right away. Don't make a move, because remember, this is a training ground, and we have these little disclaimers on the fence. You jump the fence, and we have the right to shoot to kill. That's all.
Way to thrill.
Yeah.
Too many women and too many pills.
They put it out there because they want to remind you that, hey, this is a training ground, and we have the right to do what we have the right to do. So it's on you now.
Posturing.
Whatever happens is on you. So you do what you want, but you take the consequences. So that's why
sounds like you're threatening me, Tim.
No.
Sounds what you're doing is threatening me.
That's what the Air Force said.
Security, Tim's threatening me.
That's what the Air Force said, Dave. You do what you do. We're just the United States Air Force. We're just out here training in the desert.
I got you.
See?
Very weird. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's strange. I hope people are smarter than that. Hey, Dave and Tim, let me preface this by stating I personally don't possess spiritual beliefs, as I am an atheist and an open-minded skeptic, but I'm fascinated by the paranormal due to my philosophical and scientific background. My deepest thoughts always appear new agey in context, so I appreciate as a rational man the woo-woo might scare some people off. Nevertheless, I hope you and Tim can help with the theory ruminating around my head. Here goes. Have you guys ever had a guest on whom suggested we create our own subjective afterlife just as we create our own subjective reality while living? Yeah, I think we have. I think that's been brought up on quite a few occasions.
Yeah.
My deepest thoughts always, I've heard you speak about tulpas, so my question is just a furthering of that line of thought by which our human minds are much more powerful than we could envision. Across the globe, we experience supernatural and mystical events dictated to us by our culture, ancestry, and time period. For example, Victorian spiritualists believed in ghosts. Hence, most ghosts people perceive today are from that timeline. Ooh, that's interesting. Hindu and Buddhist children tend to remember past lives more than their Western counterparts. Christians, Muslims, and Jews tend to have a hellish and heavenly near-death experience, whilst people obsessed with aliens and UFOs sometimes get out-of-body experiences traversing the universe in an ET mothership. Materialists and agnostics tend to experience nothingness during their NDEs. So could our fundamental beliefs actually alter our consciousness to the point where we move into an afterlife dimension solely influenced by our own inner wishes and hopes? I hope so, because there will be McRibs aplenty, Twinkies for everyone, Tim, constant back and foot massages, and Morgan Fairchild.
There's actually more to that than you know. When Mark Anthony and I were talking about, this is probably about 3 years ago now, almost 4 years ago now, when Mark Anthony and I were talking about quantum physics in the afterlife, a lot of this came up, and actually that fits right along with what we were talking about. So yeah, that's what we were talking about, how quantum physics, the mind, and your belief system fit into your afterlife.
Yeah, and we actually talked about this and this letter on Friday night's program on Midnight in the Desert. Mark Anthony spent 3 hours with us talking about death and kind of defining what is a ghost in the spirit realm. So it's kind of fascinating to me, and I think that those are some great points to bring up, that what if we create that and whatever we put forth for ourselves is what we'll find at the end, which again I think is what many people have talked about in a roundabout way throughout the years on our show. Mm-hmm. He goes on to say, if what I'm hinting at is a likelihood given current parapsychological evidence, people who believe in spirits would become ghosts, shadow figures, or poltergeists upon death, whilst religious types rest in heavenly realms and non-believers experience oblivion. Such a theory would reconcile reincarnation, ghosts, heaven, aliens, and God, because they could all exist in the same universe without one belief rendering the other beliefs unviable. Each individual's afterlife would be unique and in tandem with the wisdom they attained on earth. So there would be no inherent contradiction with discarnate spirits wandering the earth, coexisting with spirits whom choose to rest in their eternal paradise instead of being recycled. Well, that ends my mad rambling. Sorry if I bored you both to death. I look forward to hearing yours and Tim's opinions on the matter. Keep up the excellent work, guys. You are the best paranormal interviewers and hosts by a country mile. P.S. When you visit rainy old England, I might tag along and hopefully gain some firsthand ghostly goings-on of my own. Well, we'll have to consider going back out there and visiting England just to have that experience with you. I think it's all very plausible, right? If we can create this matrixy world we live in and we can influence it, then why not be able to influence our afterlife as well? Makes sense to me.
I think it almost has to be that way. Why do these people listen to me? Why do people have these different experiences in their afterlives, or these different religious experiences and the different ways that they travel from the afterlife and back into these this physical realm, such as reincarnation? Or why do they have a different near-death experience? Why do you have the near-death experience of having a sensation of going to hell and coming back, or seeing that bright light and coming back? I think it is influenced by the mind and by your mindset, and I think you're right. Yeah.
All righty. What's our next supernatural news bit?
Well, Dave, more reasons why you should go out in the outdoors, buddy. Explore. No. And check for ticks. I love a good conspiracy theory, Dave. I don't know that I love this one at all, because here in Minnesota we have a lot of ticks. Ticking time bomb, so to speak. The Pentagon has been ordered to reveal to Congress if its scientists were used to disease ticks. Yes, I said disease ticks, or plant a disease in ticks and use them as biological weapons. And if any had escaped the lab, in other words, were they done on purpose? U.S. military chiefs have been ordered to reveal whether they used diseased ticks in sick biological warfare experiments. A bill passed in the House of Representatives requires the Pentagon to investigate whether researchers infected the insects in the 1970s, and if any of them were let loose. It comes after a bombshell new book claims that the Defense Department was behind the spread of Lyme disease between 1950 and 1975. Congressman Chris Smith, who added the amendment to a military spending bill, said, "We need answers and we need them now." The bill orders officials to conduct a review of whether the Department of Defense experimented with ticks and other insects regarding a use of a biological weapon between the years of 1950 and 1975. They must also reveal whether any ticks or insects used in such experiments were released outside of any laboratory by accident or experiment design. Pat Smith, president of the Lyme Disease Association, added, "We need to find out, is there anything in this research that was supposedly done that can help us to find information that is germane to patient health and combat the spread of the disease." The defense authorization bill still needs to pass in the Senate before it can be signed by President Trump.
Wow, weaponization of insects might make some sense.
But why on your own people?
Because that's what they do, man. You know, you test its efficacy and you do it close by, because if you see the outbreaks here, over there, if they realize that they've been targeted, they may not talk about it in the news. You may not get any kind of concept of it, but it may have been one of those things that they did in what they thought would be a limited scope without realizing how fast and furious it would spread. Pluto TV is the leading free streaming television service. You can watch over 100 TV channels, thousands of movies, all on demand, all for free. No credit card needed, no sign up. Pluto TV is the easy and completely legal way to watch your favorite TV shows and hit movies. What are you waiting for? Never pay for TV again. Download Pluto TV for free on all of your favorite devices today. Your phone, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, smart TVs, PlayStation, and anywhere else that you stream. Pluto TV, it's the only answer you'll ever need. All right, Tim, where are we off to next?
Oh, let's see here. Let's continue with the science type of thing. Let's go. Tennessee scientists are searching for a mirror universe, and it could be sitting right in front of you. Oh, this is like the atom. This is like Ant-Man. This is like subatomic stuff, Dave. If the mirrorverse exists, upcoming experiments involving subatomic particles, I can say it 10 times fast, could reveal it. At Oak Ridge National Laboratory in eastern Tennessee, physicist Leah Broussard is trying to open a portal to a parallel universe. Reading's tough today, Dave. She calls it oscillation that could lead to her mirror matter, but the idea is fundamentally the same. In a series of experiments she plans to run at Oak Ridge this summer, Broussard will send a beam of subatomic particles down to a 50-foot tunnel, past a powerful magnet, and into an impenetrable wall. If the setup is just right, and if the universe cooperates, some of those particles will transform into a mirror image version of themselves, allowing them to tunnel right through the wall. And if that happens, Broussard will have uncovered the first evidence of a mirror world right alongside our own. It's pretty wacky, Broussard says of her mind-bending exploration. The mirror world, assuming it exists, would have its own laws of mirror physics and its own mirror history. You wouldn't find a mirror version of yourself there, and no evil Spock with a goatee, sorry Star Trek fans, but current theory allows that you might find mirror atoms and mirror rocks, and maybe even mirror planets and stars. Collectively, they could form an entire shadow world, just as real as our own, but almost completely cut off from us. Broussard says her initial search for the mirror world won't be especially difficult. This is a pretty straightforward experiment that we cobbled together with parts as we found lying around, using equipment and resources we already had available at Oak Ridge, she said. But if she unequivocally detects even a single mirror particle, it would prove that the visible universe is only half of what is out there, and that the known laws of physics are only half as much of a broader set of rules. If you discover something new like that, the game totally changes, Broussard said. As with many grand scientific quests, the hunt for mirror matter grew out of a small, seemingly esoteric mystery. Starting in the 1990s, physics developed a high-precision experiment to study how neutrons, particles found in the nuclei of atoms, break down into protons, a process related to radioactivity. But those experiments took a strange turn. Researchers found that neutrons created in particle beams, similar to the one Broussard will use, last 14 minutes and 48 seconds on average before decaying into protons. But neutrons stored in a laboratory bottle seem to break down a bit faster in 14 minutes and 38 seconds. 10 seconds may not sound like much, but the actual difference should be 0. All neutrons are exactly the same, and their behavior should depend not one bit on where or how they are examined. I take discrepancy very seriously, said Benjamin Grinstein, a particle physics expert, there we go, at the University of California, San Diego. It's not just between two experiments. It's a collection of many experiments done independently by several groups. The newest experiments, conceived in part to resolve the disagreement, have only made it worse, he added. Grinstein has explored the possibility that some neutrons are unexpectedly breaking down into particles other than protons but has found nothing so far. Mirror matter offers a more elegant, if somewhat bizarre, explanation. A decade ago, Anatoly Serebrov of Petersburg Nuclear Physics Institute in Russia introduced the idea that ordinary neutrons sometimes cross over into the mirror world and transform into mirror neutrons. At that point, we could no longer detect them. It would be as if some of the neutrons simply vanished. That would make the neutron lifetime look wrong, Broussard explains, because some of the neutrons would have been disappearing from the test equipment while the researchers were studying them. Connect the dots and you reach a far-out conclusion that the neutron experiments might look screwy because physicists unwittingly opened a portal to the mirror world.
Those sons of bitches.
I know, right? Broussard's goal is to find out if that portal really exists, and if so, to open it in a methodical way. That's where her neutron beam and impenetrable wall comes in. Oak Ridge has an 85-megawatt nuclear reactor that can shoot out billions of neutrons on demand. That doesn't sound safe. So getting enough raw material to work with isn't an issue. The hard part is figuring out how to make some of the neutrons cross over into the mirror world and then prove her skeptical colleagues and to her skeptical self that it really happened. Running the experiment will take about 1 day. Collecting the data and weeding out every possible source of error might take a few weeks more. And Broussard is looking for any telltale neutrons that manage to get past the barrier by turning into mirror neutrons and then turning back. It all comes down to, are we able to shine neutrons through a wall, she says, and we should see no neutrons according to conventional physics theory. If some of them show up anyway, that would suggest that conventional physics is wrong and the mirror world is real. So there you go.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what it makes me feel like, Tim, is like we're doing the neutron dance.
Mark, has everyone been to the bathroom tonight?
Oh, yeah. Remember this song?
Yeah.
What is this? The Pointer Sisters from, I think it was one of the Beverly Hills Cop movies, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
I don't want to take it anymore.
No, she don't.
I'll just stay locked behind the door.
What's she doing, Tim?
Just no time to stop and get away. Cause I work so hard to make it every day.
Well, we're going to do the neutron dance out of here. We'll be back. We've got more of the best in paranormal talk radio. Stay tuned. You're listening to Beyond the Darkness. Calling all true crime fans, the Court Junkie podcast is now on Podcast One. Imagine being wrongfully convicted for a crime you didn't commit, or a killer is still on the loose even though there's enough evidence for an arrest. The Court Junkie podcast shines a light on the injustices of the judicial system with deep dives into court documents and interviews with those closest to the case. Download new episodes of Court Junkie Podcast on Apple Podcasts and Podcast One.
Beyond the darkness.
All right, welcome back to the program. This is Beyond the Darkness, the best in paranormal talk radio. Tim, we have an email.
Ah.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
It's called Shadow People.
Ooh.
Hi, guys. My name is Grant from Geelong, Victoria, Australia.
Hi.
I've been listening to Darkness Radio for some time. I love the show. I thought I'd share my 2 encounters of shadow people with yous guys. My first encounter was at the age of 21. My friends had just dropped me at my mother's house at around 3 a.m. where I was to stay the night, situated in an old country town called Druin. Naturally, everybody was asleep. My mom had left the back door open for me, and I was to sleep in my little sister's room as she was staying in Mom's bed that night. I walked into the back door into the entry of the hallway. The hallway light was on, as my little sister was scared of the dark. For good reasons, as I was about to find out. I turned left at the hallway, facing my sister's room, which was at the end of the hall. I froze in fear as I saw what looked like a shadowy figure of a human almost glide into my little sister's room, where I was meant to be sleeping that night. I decided to follow. Once I was in that room, the temperature dropped. I felt the hairs on the back of my neck stand up, and I had a feeling of being watched. Freaked out even more, I decided to leave my sister's room and sleep in the lounge room on the couch. The first thing the next morning, I told my mom, who had informed me that she had to see the shadow man in the house before, or she had seen the shadow man in the house before, but not to tell my siblings. Now, the scariest moment of my life, me and a couple of my friends headed out to a place called Noji, or Nuji, in Victoria, Australia, to stay the night at my friend's partner's holiday house, which was situated in the middle of nowhere, in the forest, next to a not-so-busy road. Well, we spent the day there just hanging out, and was about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning when me and my friend decided to go out to the front to sit on the porch and have a cigarette. While we were outside chatting away, we could hear something sprinting towards us at an incredible speed. We looked at each other in fright, but also confused on what this could be. The next movement, about 4 feet in front of us, we made out a shadow man, black in appearance. Its formation looked like a male. However, its shape flickered, almost like a candle in the wind. However, if the flame was black or somewhat like a static TV channel, I could not make out any facial features or clothing. It was just darkness, and I could feel the negativity of this thing. I could feel pure hate radiating off of it. Me and my friend both looked at it and screamed, then turned around and started running out the door. I knew at that moment, whatever this thing was right behind us. We ran inside. I slammed the door, shut and locking it. My friend retreats to a corner of the room and puts her head down, shaking in the fetal position. That's when the lights started. For the next half an hour, the lights in the house were flickering on and off nonstop. I went to see if my friends were okay. There she was, still in shock in the corner. And I remember she had a fresh handprint mark on her arm, as if somebody had tried to grab her. But the bruise was purple. It looked like whatever it was had some strength to it. I examined but my friend a bit more and her back, and she had what looked to be fresh scratch marks dug down her back. All the commotion had woken up the rest of my friends who had been sleeping, and once we explained what had happened, they decided to stay up all night with us until the early morning when we left. I, lucky, have had no run-ins since these events and hope not to, touch wood. Thank you guys for an amazing show. Much love from Australia. That comes from Grant. Well, thank you, Grant. Creepy stories. We appreciate that. Speaking of creepy stories, where are we going next in supernatural news?
Well, Dave, this couple that was married for 71 years died exactly 12 hours apart. And that begs the question, if you were going to die, would you want to take somebody with you?
As many as I could. I mean, no,
What?
Tim, no. Well, no.
No?
I wouldn't want to be alone over there if it's cold and empty, till one of your loved ones joins you. But no. But it's sweet when you hear these stories. It's weird. Like, remember those twin men biking in opposite directions, both hit like minutes apart by trucks, both killed within minutes of each other. It's weird when stories like that happen. You say this couple died within hours of each other's death?
12 hours apart, yeah. When Herbert DeLagle's health started to decline in 2017, he scheduled a meeting with the preacher in his church in Waynesboro, Georgia. During the sit-down, Herbert revealed that he wasn't afraid of dying, but he was scared to leave his beloved wife, Marilyn, behind. In the end, Marilyn was only without Herbert for 12 hours. Herbert was 94 years old, Dave, and passed away from heart failure at 2:20 a.m. on July 12th. Marilyn was 88, that was his wife, and she took her final breath at 2:20 p.m., the same day, rather. My mom had Alzheimer's and was sleeping at a bed next to him when he went. The couple's son, Donnie, told Today, as soon as they came to my dad, her breathing went crazy. She was shaking. It was like she knew he was gone. Marilyn's official cause of death was senile degeneration of the brain. Still, it's hard not to wonder if Marilyn died of a broken heart. Herbert and Marilyn's daughter, Helen Iris DeLagle, said a nurse predicted her parents would die on the same day. She pulled me aside 6 months ago and said, when I go to check your dad's vitals, your mom's will be neck and neck with his. Helen Iris told that to Today. She had never seen anything like it in her career. Donnie, who is one of 6 siblings, says he can't imagine his parents' story ending any other way. Mom and Dad held hands wherever they went. That's what they were known for in town, Donnie said. They held hands in their sleep. It embarrassed me when I was a teenager, Helen Iris admitted, but when I got older, I was like, how precious. Marilyn explained to her children that it was because the decorated Army veteran was gone so often. Herbert served during World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. My mother said she was going to hold on to him when he was home, Donnie told Today, so that was their thing. The funeral, which was held on Monday, was a celebration. Donnie went on to say, we can't be sad. Now they're in heaven holding hands.
That's sweet. I mean, it's sad that they're gone, Tim. Don't get me wrong, but it's sweet.
Yeah, that is. It's just, it's sad at the same time, but 12 hours apart. That's, wow.
Hello, Dave and Tim. This is my first email to you guys, and I apologize for my grammar and spelling. Oh, God.
Uh-oh, you're going to get it from Dave now.
Oh, no. Before I start off, I should explain that I have some gifts. I used to work on unsolved murder cases and house cleansings and exorcisms. I first started to listen to you guys the first year the Darkness app was available. I live in southern Ontario. I love the paranormal news. You two guys are extremely funny sometimes. I laugh throughout the whole show. I have come across a situation that I'm hoping that you guys can help me with, so I should tell you my story. Ooh, I like this. First of all, let me mention to people, we are about 10 days away from an iPhone app. It's fully done and realized. Can you believe it, Tim?
Yeah, I was playing with it last night.
Pardon me?
The iPhone app, Dave. I was playing with the iPhone app last night.
Good. Yeah, we're just in the final testing stages. It should be available. If you are listening and you're interested, email me, dave@darknessradio.com. Put in the subject line, iPhone app, and as soon as it's available, I will email and let all of you know. So just if you're interested in it, email me now, dave@darknessradio.com. All right, here we go. Back to the story, Tim.
Okay.
About 6 years ago, I would bike to see my daughter. She lived in the next town, which was 10 miles away. I would use a trail, which is part of the Trans-Canada Trail. I would come back late around midnight, and on the way home, I would hear wood knocks.
Come in.
A wood knock.
Oh.
At first, I thought, what some crazy whack job is out there doing in the woods? One of my friends told me not to be on the trail at night because of coyotes, Tim.
Uh-oh. Here, boy.
I replied, I'm more worried about the guy pounding on the trees with a stick. I started ringing my bike bell when I heard the wood knocks. Bring, 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 bring. I don't know if that would intimidate me, right?
Yeah.
As you hear the whacking of the wood, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So, yeah, just saying, just throwing it out there.
Yeah,
but anyway, then one day I started watching Finding Bigfoot. My mouth dropped when they did the wood knocks. So on the way home from my daughter's place where I heard the wood knocks, I did a whoop. There it is. And within a minute, I heard a wood knock. It sounded like it came from the distance. I did another whoop and got another wood knock. I rang my bell and left. Still had doubt, but every night I took the trail, I would do the same thing. And most of the time, I would get wood knocks. Then one morning, I was coming home from work after finishing night shift. It was just past 7. I was taking the same trail where I heard the wood knocks. Halfway home that morning, I noticed that there were no animals on the trail, not even a bird. It was a perfect summer morning. When I got to a clearing, I looked into the field and I noticed something was running in the field. It was about 1,000 feet away, and the only way I saw it was the break in the sunlight behind it when it moved. It ran like a gorilla. I slammed on my brakes, but I lost sight of it. 3 years ago, I moved to the same town as my daughter. I would only go on that trail a few times since. A few days ago, I told a friend they found a footprint in a local creek where people go fishing. About 4 years around the time, few years, let me try this again, Tim, words is hard. A few days ago, I told a friend they found a footprint in a local creek where people go fishing. About 4 years around the time I seen that thing running in the field. The creek is about 10 kilometers. My friend who was picking me up had a sighting about 15 years ago. He picked up around 10. We started to drive away. He asked if I wanted to see the place where he had his sighting. I thought it was a good idea, so we went there. When we got there, it had a fence around it and the woods on the side we were on. There was an entrance to the woods like a driveway, and a sign that said private property, no motorized vehicles allowed. I just passed the fence when I turned around because it was way too icy to walk through. While we were walking back, my friend stopped and motioned me to be quiet. So I turned around and I whoop. Because, of course, he said, be quiet. Your first inclination is to whoop. You're one of those people, I see. He started to smile and look at me. Before he could look at me, there were 2 wood knocks perfectly clear and close to us. As he raised his hand toward the wood knock, he heard a howl that came from the other side of the woods. His mouth dropped and pointed at the howl. That's when we heard another 2 wood knocks from another section of the woods. I decided to do another whoop. Again, 2 knocks, then a howl, then another 2 wood knocks. I stood there waiting to see what would happen. And after the next few minutes, I heard footsteps. I turned to my friend, who was now sitting in the car. Great, I thought. I'm standing on the road, waiting for Bigfoot to come out and play. That's when I hear the geese squawking where the howl came from. A few minutes went by, and I heard footsteps coming from that where the howl came from. Within a minute, my friend asked me to get in the car. We sat in the car watching shadows for an hour before we left. I asked my friend why he got in the car. He heard the footsteps coming towards us. He was worried that they would come out of the woods and kill him like in the movies. Yep, I'm the dummy standing out there waiting to play with Bigfoot. There was a few things that left me puzzled. One of them was the first wood knock was so close, and it had to see my whoop. Good God, this writing. I'm sorry. People, please help me out. Just try to write coherently and read it once before you hit send. That's all I ask. It'll help us both out in the long run. There was a few things that left me puzzled. One of them was the first wood knock was too close, and it had to see me. My whoop are the most human voice. If it was hiding, why would it tell me it was close? So why did it respond so fast? I'm going to try to stop editing because I want you to see what I'm up against here, Tim.
Okay.
The hool was the first time I heard it, and it did not sound like it was happy. It was thunderous sound. Where we were was about 20 miles from the wood knocks I heard 3 years ago. The woods are connected as well. I understand that wood knocks are Bigfoot telling us they are around. I wonder if it is the same one and knew my whoop. Could it be that he likes me and bonded with me from 3 years ago? That's how it felt to me. No matter how close the footsteps came, I never felt threatened, but extremely comfortable. Does that make sense to you? And is it possible? Thanks. And that comes from Kev. Well, I don't know if it bonded with you, Kevin, but it might recognize that whoop. Whoop! There it is. Whoop! There it is. I don't know. It's fascinating nonetheless, but I just no way once I've started to hear wood knocks and howling and whoops, Tim, that you will find me hanging out in those woods.
Yeah, I don't know that that's my favorite place to hang out after that.
Not that I would have been hanging out there to begin with, but just saying.
Yeah, you're not one to just hang out in the woods and have a great time. Yeah. It's dangerous and icky, and now that we know that there are terroristic ticks out in the woods, Tim. Well, yeah, they'll give you Lyme disease.
Yeah, whether you want it or not, the little bitey bastards. All right, where are we off to next?
A ghostly figure has been spotted lurking in surgery, Dave, before motion sensor doors open. We head across the pond where it's not good, Dave.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, that's not good. Not good.
Playing it, I know I'm going to hit it a couple times if I do that right.
Well, we're going to Belfast. I don't know that they'd appreciate that theme there.
Over the pond. I just thought that meant England. But all right, where are we off to then?
Well, Belfast, Dave. John McCready uploaded the footage to a paranormal Facebook page in a bid to find out what others thought had set the sensors off. The footage captured around 11 p.m. on January 24th at a surgery in Belfast, Northern Ireland, appears to show a shadowy figure in the bottom left corner of the screen. The bizarre figure can be seen moving, or as John described, floating past the words is hard again, Dave, past the receptionist desk before gravitating towards the automatic front doors. Around 40 seconds later, the doors swing open and set off another automatic light. After posting the clip, he said, "I work for a security installation company in Belfast, Northern Ireland. We were called out to the Bradbury Clinic in Belfast to see why they were having so many false alarms on their intruder alarm. My colleague carried out a playback of the CCTV system at the time that the alarm was activated in the system log. He recorded what he saw on his phone." John claimed the intruder alarm was also activated during the bizarre encounter. Since posting the video online, hordes of people have flooded in to view the clip. One person said, "Wow, as it moves, it looks like a small person shape. You can see what looks like legs walking, I think. Had to watch a good few times to see it. Fascinating stuff." Another added, "Yes, I see it. It's like a round, dark shape." A third said, "It's very weird, but cool too." There you go. That's the article there.
Yeah, do you want to see like a ghost scoping around the surgical suite while you're laid up in the hospital?
No, because you can't run, you can't hide, you can't go anywhere.
No, you can't. You could try, but you're not going to get anywhere.
No. No, you could just sit there and cry and keep pumping the little medication thing to try and put yourself out of your misery. And, just hope to God it doesn't take your soul.
Dear Darkness Dave and Terrifying Tim.
Hi.
Real quick, I wanted to thank you both for the show and the great work you do. Your energy and playfulness really helps me get through my week. First thing I do once I get settled in at my desk is pull up Stitcher and load up the latest episodes of Beyond the Darkness to get my morning off right. All right, hopefully you are completely buttered up because I was hoping you could help me or at least share some insight on how to deal with my very unusual problem. You see, I have a birthday curse. I have grown to loathe my birthday every year because I believe I'm doomed to endure some random event either just before, on, or directly after my birthday. The curse comes in many shapes and sizes. Sometimes it's a major event. Sometimes it just sticks me with a more than minor annoyance to remind me it's still there. And before you say it, no, I haven't experienced just one or two random things on my birthday in the past that has caused me to have some sort of endless cycle of self-fulfilling prophecies. It's every year, and it's always out of my control. My birthday curse is like Liam Neeson in Taken. No matter what I do or where I hide, it will come after me. It will find me, and it will get me. I don't know when it started exactly or if it has always been there, but I do know it has escalated in the last 20 years. That's how I discovered the pattern. I was born on August 23rd, 1978. And growing up with a late summer, early fall birthday was just murder on a kid like me. School always started up the same week, so forget about having any kind of celebration with friends. Their parents were too busy wrestling them back into a school routine, so while most of my friends would have pool parties or sleepovers, I usually just had a cake with my family and no other fanfare. Now, that doesn't sound too bad, except that it was a real bummer for a kid to not share something as simple as a birthday party with my friends. My birthday was sort of a non-event during those early years. Now, fast forward to my 17th birthday, which I believe the previous years were building momentum towards. My grandfather died just days before and was buried right after my birthday that year. We were very close and it hit me very hard, but it was that first year I took notice of how crappy my birthday has always been. Let me give you the highlight reel so I don't have time to give you the last 20 or so horrible things that have happened to me. For my 21st, when most guys would be tearing down the bars, I was recovering from major dental surgery because I had all 4 wisdom teeth taken out on my birthday. Now, that seems like something I could control, right? You're thinking, what could have possibly have to do with some sort of birthday curse? Wrong. The only opening all summer before I had to travel back to college was that week. Otherwise, I'd have to wait until Christmas break to have it done. And I tried every single dentist in my parents' insurance network, and none of them had an earlier opening. By 22, my sister decided to get married at the last minute, causing a bit of a 16 candles issue where no one even remembered it was my birthday. Not even my own mother. It wasn't until over a week later at a Labor Day cookout that it occurred to everyone that they had missed it. Well, that one doesn't seem like a curse to me. That's just bad timing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that your sister's marriage is really bad luck, is it? I mean, you're an adult. Things happen. Suck it up, Nancy.
Wow.
Just kidding. By 25, I woke up and rolled out of bed and started doing push-ups like I had done every day since college, and pop, a tendon in my right arm snapped and I went face first into the floor. By 27, I had the biggest fight with my family over a girl I was seeing, and I never had a major knockdown fight with my folks before. It was just so out of character for us to get into it like that. We didn't speak for weeks. The next year, I had an even bigger fight, after which they disowned me for a few years because I decided to marry the same girl in question. She was upset that she caused a rift between us, but I told my wife not to worry. It wasn't her. It was the curse. It could have been her. I'm just saying there's always that kind of possibility. It might have been her.
I don't know.
Well, yeah. Like most, she didn't believe me, but the curse quickly made her a believer too. She witnessed it firsthand through the various accidents when she and I spent several of my birthdays in the hospital and once at the cardiologist for a major heart scare. The big one was on my 30th. When in 2008, Tropical Storm Faye hit us and kept us homebound all weekend long on my birthday. So you're stuck at home with your wife that you love.
Yeah.
Inside. It's kind of romantic.
Yeah.
Nobody to bother you.
Celebrate with
you guys. Right. You play the end of the world scenarios and just have lots of the sex, Tim,
yeah.
Right? Isn't that what you do?
Celebrating your birthday suit, buddy.
Yeah. So I don't know that one seems like a curse.
No.
Unless like your house folded in and blew away.
Well.
But determined to make a change, she tried her best to prevent the inevitable, but the curse just rebounded on her. One year, we both got really bad food poisoning, and another year, she got unexpectedly and violently ill for a month. Literally like a light switch, healthy one day, sick the next. She even threw her back out for months after one birthday, and that was the last straw. After a few years of trying to counter the curse, she has stopped trying to interfere and bunkers down with me until the whole month blows over. She has since decided to celebrate it in October on my favorite holiday, Halloween. Last year, she told a friend of ours about the birthday curse, and he quickly mocked it by saying it was the stupidest thing he'd ever heard. The very next day, he was bitten by a spider, and after a day or so of excruciating pain, he went to see the doctor. His body then rejected the first, second, and third treatments, and he had a month's worth of doctor's visits and a painful recovery process. This year, he has told us to keep our distance until the curse is past. It's latest surprise to me. And while I can't go into detail about this year's birthday gift because of a confidential agreement now in place, let's just say it's not how I would have cared to spend my special day. That's why I'm writing to you guys. I want to know if you've ever heard of something like this. I've had some say it had to do with the fact that I'm on the cusp of Leo Virgo in the zodiac, and it can act. Tim, did you follow that?
I got that.
Let me give you the literal translation. I've had some say it had to do with the fact that I'm on the cusp of Leo Virgo in the zodiac, Tim.
The zodiac?
Yeah, like Mountain Dew and Pepsi, the zodiac.
I love me some zodiac.
And that it can cause problems when experiencing that shift annually with something symbolically significant as a birthday. But my sister-in-law shares the same birthday, and she hasn't experienced anything like this. Besides, I'm not overtly superstitious about anything else. My wife and I, who were doomed at the beginning of our marriage as a result of the birthday curse, decided to get hitched on a Friday the 13th in October to prove the opposite. And soon we will celebrate our 10th year wedding anniversary in just over a month. And it's not geographical because it's happened when I lived in several states. The best thing I can compare it to would be the unseen character of death in the Final Destination film series. I can see my birthday curse, but I know it's out there and it's biding its time until next year. Anything you could do would be a great help. Comforting words of prayer, protection, a good shaman you could recommend, anything. Thank you guys for the great entertainment every weekday. Keep up the good work, and maybe for a belated birthday gift, you guys could do a show on ghost stories, creepypastas, and urban legends. Maybe by doing this, you can invoke the proper fall mood with your buttery, smooth radio voices and get the weather to start trending cooler already. Thanks, guys. Your fan, Tom C.
Tom, you said Leo into Virgo. That I'm Leo into Virgo. I'm August 26th. I'm a Virgo technically, but I'm right on that Leo Virgo cusp, and I never have had anything happen on my birthday that's been bad.
No, but you always talk about the fact that you believe you're cursed.
Right, but never on my birthday. Never.
I don't know, man.
Never on a birthday, though. I've never had
on a birthday.
No. I always have good birthdays.
All right, where are we off to next?
Owner of a haunted church is not allowed to build an extension as he could disturb the dead, Dave. Ghostly.
Owner of a haunted church. Wasn't that a song by Yes in the 80s?
No, it's Owner of a Lonely Heart, Dave.
Oh, yeah. What's going on now? An owner of a haunted church is told what?
He can't build an extension on it because he could disturb the dead.
That's a big no-no.
Yeah. The ghostly site is thought to have stillborn babies buried beneath its entrance. Yeah. Yep. Plans to extend a haunted church have been rejected by local counselors over fears that it could disturb the dead. The historic Score Chapel has become known for its alleged paranormal links located next to the site of hundreds of graves. The first bricks were laid on the Grade 2 listed building in 1855, and it was left frozen in time, derelict, and vandalized for decades, with few daring to venture up there. No wonder, as the ground leading up to the church's front door is thought to be buried with stillborn babies. Yikes. There have been reports of ghostly activity on the site.
Sounds like a really bad foundation, Tim, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you never
gravel mix is much better.
Oh, Dave, no.
I'm just saying, gravel mix is a better deal. Unborn babies is not the way to go.
No,
when you're
Dave,
planting that stuff. Well, I'm just saying, don't do that kind of stuff. No. Why would they think that was the way to kind of bless a church anyway? That's weird. What a weird church.
There have been reports of ghostly activity at the site, with rumors that it was once, if not still, haunted. Ryan Meredith was brave enough to purchase the spooky time capsule in 2006 and has since transformed it into a 2-bedroom house. But it is the fear of resurfacing the dead that has thrown out his grand design project of building 3 new bedrooms and an underground living room. An underground living room? What are we, in the 70s? Nearby residents in the seaside town of Ilfracombe, Devon, have resoundingly rejected the proposal in their letters to the local authority, with one going so far as to say people should not profit from the dead, leave them in eternal peace. Helen Marin wrote to the council to say, my great aunt has a stillborn baby buried in the area that the owner wants to disturb, dig up, and build an underground extension. The ground must be left undisturbed To allow digging large holes in the area of the graves of stillborn babies is a desecration of graves and should not be allowed. People should not profit from the dead. Leave them in eternal peace. Betty Engman, secretary of the Scorewood Cemetery Trust, was also enraged by the plan, saying this is not a housing estate. This is a refuge for wildlife and rare birds, an oasis as it should provide peace and quiet for the living as well as for the dead buried within, of which a great number of World War I and World War II heroes gave their lives for us to safeguard. Devon County Council's Historic Environmental Team also objected to the plans, stating that any groundworks that are likely to disturb buried human remains will require the appropriate home office license. Other objections include concerns about flooding, structural stability, and wildlife. Planning officers at North Devon Council refused the plans in a decision on July 12th. They said in their rejection notice, in the absence of a statement of significance and further information in relation to buried archaeology on the site, specifically the extent of the burial ground and status of the land, the local planning authority are unable to assess the impact of the development on archaeological interest. So there you go.
Weird stuff. Dear Dave and Tim, I want to thank you so much for everything you guys do. I've been a listener for a few years now and have never written in. I just want to write in today to tell you I just love the variety of topics you cover. I also want to thank you both for being such awesome hosts for so many of your guests. I just love to listen to all sorts of ideas that come up on your show, no matter how out there it seems. Some of these topics aren't very popular and really make you think, which I think makes it even more entertaining. I wanted to tell you how much I really appreciate the fact that everyone who comes on your show appears to get the same amount of respect, regardless of how out there their claims how far out there their claims they're making might seem. I admit there were some topics that made no sense to me, but hearing different ideas are what helps us learn and makes life interesting. I'm so grateful for you both providing a platform for everyone with a cool story. I personally believe everyone deserves to be treated with respect, which makes me love your show even more and has cemented for me as a long time ago because of it. I can definitely tell you there are topics you might not have agreed with or even believed in, but it was always good to hear every guest being interviewed as if they held the Rosetta Stone for weird, not just some crazy person. Again, thank you for all you guys do and keep being the most awesomest guys on the air. And that comes from Jen. Oh, thanks, Jen.
Thanks, Jen. Can you get weird for Rosetta Stone? I've always wanted to speak weird.
I think so. Why shouldn't you? Hey, I've got, I wanted to find this email. Let's see if I can find it real quickly. Check this out. Hey, Dave, I listened to the episode with the guy who can control weather, and I won't lie, I rolled my eyes a whole lot. Then he brought up he was responsible for the major flooding that happened in Nebraska, which pissed me off because I just figured this loon is tying horrible events that destroyed friends, family, and a lot of my customers' lives. He also said he wasn't done in Nebraska. Well, July 9th, a storm hit Kearney, Nebraska, dropping 10 inches of rain and causing historic flooding and putting the river at its highest level it's ever been. Can I say he's been behind these major events? I can't say, but the odds are yes. I just wanted to pass that on. Have a good day. I'm getting a lot of people, Tim, that are like, I hated that guy and he's a moron. I can't believe you put him on. But I've started to do research and it's continued to rain where he told us it's going to continue to rain. Yeah. And things are bad. So, again, that's why we entertain guests like that.
Yeah.
Because you never know. And, the guy had a story to tell and felt as though he's being slighted. And we put it out there. And here's what you do. Start pointing your constituents in your area to that episode. Share it with them. Maybe this guy needs to be heard. Maybe it's about time somebody takes him seriously.
At first, I thought he was off his rocker, too. And like I said, I started Googling along with him, and I started looking at the maps that he was talking about, and everything lined up. He hit all the numbers, and I thought, wow, what he's saying really does make sense, and maybe he is behind this stuff.
There you go. All right. Where are we going next in the world of supernatural news?
Dave, we're going to Wales, where, I know a lot of people out there probably had the Teddy Ruxpin doll, or they've had talking dolls in their day, and they're cute and they're cuddly.
Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah.
It's just like our buddy from college, God rest his soul.
No, he's not dead, Dave. He's quite alive. In fact, he was on Facebook the other day.
He's always alive in our hearts, Tim.
No, Dave, that's not alive that way. He actually tweeted the other day, and he was on Facebook, and he actually left a status, and he's quite alive and well with his kids.
Dude, you've been hitting that medical marijuana a little too hard.
No. He's quite here.
So as you're talking about scary dolls, Tim,
you really should
just leave our poor
him.
Friend who passed
He's
in
alive.
the past.
You really should say hi to him sometime.
I do in my heart every day.
No, he
hi,
misses
Teddy.
you.
We miss you.
No, you
All
don't.
Right.
You should say
So what's
hi.
the story now?
So anyway, people like their talking dolls. They just don't like them talking to them when they're not supposed to. And especially when they say bad things, like they want to burn your eyes out.
What?
Yeah. You never want a doll to say that to you. Yeah, you never want a doll to tell you that they want to burn your eyes out.
Yeah, it's rude.
Yeah. Ghost hunters are terrified when they run into a doll that says, I want to burn your eyes out. It happens. It came after paranormal investigators heard a creepy doll saying, I want to burn your eyes out during a ghost hunt in Wales. This, kids, is why you never want a ghost hunt with creepy dolls.
Right.
Just saying. The ghost hunter, or some ghost hunters, have branded a doll the most haunted item in the UK. It came after a paranormal investigation, and investigators heard a creepy doll saying, I want to burn your eyes out during a ghost hunt in Wales. The terrifying moment was captured on camera by Danny Moss of Pick TV's Paranormal Captured. That's a show, by the way. In the video, Mr. Moss can be seen holding a crucifix, asking the doll, what do you want? The doll, named Grace, said, burn. Not a
she's
friendly
clear
doll.
with her message. She doesn't leave much in the way of interpretation.
No, it doesn't sit on the fence at all.
Nope.
He then asks, what do you want to burn? And after a couple of repeated questions, the voice chillingly replies, your eyes. Yeah. According to North Wales Live, the voice was captured on an S-Box, which scans white noise while blocking out any radio interference. They believe the spirit of a witch from the 1600s attached itself to the doll during a ghost hunt in Ruthin. As a result, Grace is now kept in a glass box as they are unsure what supernatural...
That'll show her.
That's right. You stay in the
Can't
box.
the glass box intensify her laser beam eyes when she tries to burn out your eyes?
I would think it could, yeah. I don't know. They kept her in a glass box as they are unsure what supernatural powers it has. I don't think the glass box is going to do much. Mr. Moss told North Wales Live, people may be skeptical and say our Grace doll findings are fake, but we have caught them in real time, and I'll admit, even I was never a big believer, but this item is just amazing. I've never seen anything like it. Without a doubt, it is the most haunted item in the UK. A lot of people have experienced it. It is highly active and has never dipped in activity since gaining its attachment. Hearing it saying it wanted to burn my eyes was terrifying at the time, and to have members of the public along with us who witnessed it was just crazy. What is also significant is that a few years ago we also captured a voice saying something along the lines of "reap your eyes," and a number of people have had that sensation of their eyes burning, but we never thought too much of it until this incident. We believe the doll has gained its attachment in Ruthin, and over the last few months we have recorded some good evidence, including knocking sounds and the same voice several times, which has been captured and heard in real time. We've had knocking sounds and a voice saying "release me," which was captured on the box, and the camera shows nobody else was in the room. It is interesting as it always is 3 knocks whenever we take the doll, and always the same voice. Mr. Moss has suggested that the Grace doll is a British version of the famous Annabelle doll, which has been the subject of a series of horror films, first released in 2014. The latest supernatural film in the series, Annabelle Comes Home, hit UK theater screens on Friday. Well, this is actually a couple weeks old, and is inspired by the story of a doll given to a student nurse in America in the 1960s, which is said to have been demonically possessed by a young girl called Annabelle Higgins. The doll is now kept in a glass box at the Warren's Occult Museum in Connecticut. Mr. Moss said some people may compare it to the doll Annabelle from the film. Hollywood may have dramatized the Annabelle a lot, and things are different in real life. Things don't go flying around the room and people don't get possessed like you see in the films. We keep it in a box, as it is really unknown what the energy attached to the doll can do. The box is blessed and has protective symbols on it, and we don't think it can get out. The doll is not the one doing the knocking. It is the entity attached to it making the noise. I hear you knocking, but you can't come in.
Is that a little Richard song? Back in the day?
Something like that, yeah. We really do not know what would happen if we let it out. He added, before we put it in the box, there was always a strong electromagnetic force around it, and and when we drew chalk around it, we noticed we had moved, it had moved slightly. So if it can move, what else can it do? We had the room erupt in screams of terror before, and we've had lots of skeptical people admit they just can't explain it. Seeing is believing. I have a theory on this, Dave. There's something in this story that is unusual.
Do tell.
They said that they had one other sighting at a different location where they said they felt like their eyes were burning. Mm-hmm. I think they have a spirit that's following them. I don't think there's anything in this doll at all. I think they have a spirit that's following them around from place to place, and they think that it's in this doll.
That's a good theory.
Yeah.
You're either on something or you're onto something. All right, our final story is here, Tim.
Yes, it is, Dave, and this...
Well, no, I've got a final story, and then I'll throw back to you. I'm just saying our final Parashare story.
I was going to say we have two more stories on my end, but go ahead.
Yeah. No, my final Parashare for this week is kind of weird, and it follows up on Vanilla Ice getting blown at Zach Bagans' museum a few weeks ago.
Okay.
Hi, Dave and Tim. I wanted to write to you about an experience I had at Zach's Museum in Las Vegas. My family and I did the tour back in late August of 2018. Nothing too eventful happened during the tour. It was fun. There was a lot of interesting things to look at. At one point, I did feel very heavy, but I think that was because I'm a very emotional person, and seeing some of the artifacts where people were tortured really got to me. The scary part happened after the tour. Literally, a few days after we came back from Vegas, everything seemed to hit the fan. My dad threatened to divorce my mom and said it was my fault over a misunderstanding. My mom agreed and said if I don't apologize, that she would disown me. She eventually did after she somehow found a letter from my sister, who my mom absolutely despised, which I made sure to hide very well. All this happened within a span of 2 days, right after we came back. I was depressed and shocked, and at a loss for words, because it seemed something came crumbling down, or everything came crumbling down at once. Now, here's the creepy part. When I had went to the tour, I had worn a spanking new plaid shirt that my mom gifted me on the trip. After we came back from Vegas, I hadn't worn the shirt, and it was safe in my closet. I had only worn it once, and it was on that tour. Fast forward to when everything fell apart, I decided to wear that shirt, but when I took it out of the stack of folded clothes, I found a huge hole ripped in the back. It was big enough for me to put my hand through. Now, I don't remember seeing that hole when I was folding it, because I would have certainly remembered a hole that big. I lived alone at the time, and there was no explanation for that hole. If it had happened that day after the tour, I would have most definitely noticed a tug to create a rip that big. I thought it was odd, and my paranoia set in. I threw the shirt in my bathtub to do some old-fashioned cleansing with salt water. Once you just throw it out, it's torn. Just saying, demonic torn plaid shirt. Why is it worth keeping, Tim? That's weird.
Maybe it's a favorite comfy shirt.
She's only worn it once. How could it be that much of a favorite? Oh. Demons are infesting that shirt and tearing it open from the inside. Tim, get rid of it! Soaking it in salt water. Blah. I left it soaking overnight, and the next morning decided I wanted to cleanse the whole house with sage, which I normally do. The moment I get to the bathroom, the fire alarm goes off, which has never happened before. I put out the sage and go into the bathroom to get the shirt out of the tub. Dave, I swear to God, when I picked up the shirt, there was another hole right in the back near the shoulder, close to the original rip. And this was big and noticeable too, big enough to fit my hand through as well. Now, could there be a rational explanation for this and I'm overreacting? No, I can't see one. I really don't know, but I wasn't about to chance it. My friend and I took that shirt that night to the beach and burned it in a bonfire. I made sure to sage my house when I got back. Needless to say, everything fell back into place with my family after that. That just proves my point, Tim. Plaid is evil.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I really believe that there could have been something dark from that museum that followed us. Maybe they just hated plaid. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the story. I would love to hear what you think about it. You guys are the best. Been a longtime fan since 2013. And that comes from Susie. Well, thanks, Susie. I don't know. I mean, sometimes bad luck happens. Sometimes things occur. Does it mean it's tied to the museum? I mean, he's gone out of his way to try to bind things and keep them there, clawing at your shirt. I don't know. I'd check your washing machine to make sure there's no little bits and pieces in there or something bent up a little bit that might have just grabbed a hold of it and torn it. But that doesn't explain how a second hole got in there while soaking it in salt water, which then proves to you how powerful is salt water if the demon could reach into the saltwater bath and then tear your shirt anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
that demon's like, God, I hate that damn plaid shirt.
It's a good
gotta
point.
Go. It's it or me.
There's some pretty heavy energy at that museum. I don't know. There's some good points brought up in that email, though. Let's just put it this way. It's a good thing you got rid of it in fire. Just put it that way.
All right. Where are we going next?
Well, speaking of exorcisms and getting rid of demons, Dave, we're going to a Colombian city where a bishop is taking to the skies to exorcise an entire Colombian city. Just get rid of demons in an entire city, Dave. Here's how you do it if you need to do it. And we're doing it up baller style. This is how you do it. An army is needed to get rid of demons in this particular city. A Colombian bishop is planning to exorcise an entire city by sprinkling holy water from a helicopter. Monsignor Ruben Dario...
That's a lot of holy water, isn't it?
That is a lot of holy water. Monsignor Ruben Dario Jaramillo Montoya, the Bishop of Buenaventura, will say a prayer intended to purge the area of demonic infestation. The city is beset by violence, drug smuggling, and poverty. Montoya disclosed the exorcism shortly after a 10-year-old girl was tortured and murdered. He told local radio, "We have to drive the devil out of Buenaventura to see if we can restore the peace and tranquility that our city has lost due to so many crimes, acts of corruption, and with so much evil and drug trafficking that invades our port. We want to go around the whole of Buenaventura from the air and pour holy water on it to see if we can exorcise and get out all of those demons that are destroying our port, so that God's blessing comes and gets rid of all the wickedness that is in our streets." Colombia's army is reported to be providing the bishop with a helicopter for the aerial exorcism during the city's annual patron saints festivities. Buenaventura on Colombia's Pacific coast was named as the country's most violent place in 2014. According to Human Rights Watch, many of the city's neighborhoods are dominated by powerful criminal groups that commit widespread abuses, including abducting and dismembering people, sometimes while still alive, then dumping them in the sea. Those groups maintain chop-up houses, you heard that right, known as casas de pique, while they slaughter victims, according to witnesses, residents, the local Catholic Church, and some officials. Since then, a marked improvement has been seen in some neighborhoods after residents took action to regain control, but local media reported 51 homicides in the city in the first 5 months of this year, 20 more than in the same period last year. Although exorcisms are usually carried out on individuals, in 1890, Pope Leo XIII added a prayer, exorcism against Satan and the fallen angels, for resolving demonic infestation. Last year, the Vatican held an exorcism training course for priests amid claims that demands for deliverance from demonic possession had greatly increased across the world. The Vatican-backed International Association for Exorcists, which represents more than 200 Catholic, Anglican, and Orthodox priests, said the increase presented a pastoral emergency.
All right, our final story is here. Tim, what is our final supernatural news tale?
3 words, Dave. Spank the monkey.
What?
Spank the monkey.
Was he naughty? What did he do? Fling and poo? Why does he deserve to be spanked, Tim?
This is not the literal version of Spank the Monkey, Dave. This is about the ghost of a masturbating ape.
Ah, you mean the number 1 story sent to us this last week?
Yes, Dave. Yeah. This takes place in Dorset, where the ghost of a masturbating ape has been haunting the hallways of a grand country estate.
Okay.
Yeah. The ghost of a Randy Monkey, which, by the way, is my wrestling name, Randy Monkey.
Oh, God. It's a good wrestling name.
It is it's a great wrestling name. Yep. Ooh, yeah, Randy Monkey. Haunts the halls of a grand English country estate where romantic spook hunters flock to tie the knot. You heard it here first, folks. There is a peeping Tom, Randy Monkey, looking at you while you're consummating your marriage.
Crazy.
Yeah. Titillated tourists can often hear... Titillated tourists, say that 10 times fast.
Oh, thanks.
Can often hear the saucy specter laughing while masturbating in Athelhampton Hall in Dorset near Dorchester.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the spooky venue even has soul-searching couples clamoring to have their weddings held there.
Right, because there's no better way to get your marriage off on a good foot than a masturbating monkey spirit.
Getting your marriage off.
Right.
And the spooky venue even has soul-searching couples clamoring to have their weddings held there in the hopes of having the pervy primate appear in the background of their pictures. Oh, God.
Oh, my.
The lovable ape's afterlife antics have helped the hall to be named as one of the most haunted houses in England after being listed on We Buy Any Homes list of the 9 most ghostly properties. The 15th century house was originally built by the Martin family, whose crest features an excited monkey sitting on a tree stump.
God. Oh, my God.
The estate's
it hurts.
It does. The estate's motto was, "He who looks at Martin's ape will look at him lovingly." No, I put in the lovingly. And ever since, the horny ghost of Martin's monkey has haunted the sprawling country pile, making it a go-to destination for curious phantom fanatics. I feel like Robin Leach should read that.
I don't think he's available, Tim. You'll just have to be the one to do it.
No, I don't know that I can do the voice.
And ever since, the horny ghost of Martin's monkey has haunted the sprawling country pile, making it a go-to destination for curious phantom fanatics.
I like it. It sounds like he's kind of hyped up on a little junkie juice or something.
Like
but
helium,
pretty good. Yeah.
One tourist, dad of 3, 41-year-old John Morrison from Derby, who took his entire family to the estate, spoke excitedly, I'm a little too excited reading this, about the spanking spook. There's too much alliteration in this story.
The spanking spook.
The spanking spook.
The wankin' wrath.
Yes, the wankin' wraith. He said, "We heard that Martin the monkey, who haunts this house, loves to scratch his privates while swinging around." Well, I do too. I mean, I have a trapeze in my house. We didn't see him, which is a shame because it would have been a real sight. Apparently, he's not terrifying. Quite friendly is what we heard. According to the local legend, the unconventional Martin family did have a pet ape, which was free to wander the halls. That's kind of a cool pet when you think about it.
Not when it's just whacking a mole in every corner of your house, I don't think so.
Well, you never have to stucco the ceiling. And one of the Martin daughters had an unhappy love affair and decided to kill herself. The compassionate monkey began following her around. When she climbed a set of hidden stairs to a secret room, the ape trailed behind and watched as she took her own life when the door bolted. By the time the family search of the house and grounds eventually located the room, the ape had starved to death next to her body. Oh, that's sad. Now its ghost haunts the hall, often scratching at the paneling of the secret room and staircase in an eternal frantic attempt to escape. But the monkey is not alone, Dave. The house is reputed to have 6 other ghosts, all human. Athelhampton has long been known as a haunted spot and featured on TV's Most Haunted in 2002. There's been a structure on the site since Saxon times. Andrea Cook, who has lived at the house with her family for more than 20 years, said she has witnessed all sorts of odd and inexplicable things. But while many people have a rational explanation, she said there are always some which do not. The most recent was a dark hooded figure which rushed past one of our cleaners. On the first sighting, she assumed she had imagined it, but 10 minutes later it came towards her again up the old servant's staircase. That sounds like a euphemism for something. And hurried past her into a bathroom.
Is that a euphemism or metaphor for the back door loving, Tim?
Yes, up the old servant's staircase.
Yeah.
I believe I'll take it up the old servant's staircase tonight, Governor.
It's usually a spiral one, too. It makes it even more uncomfortable.
Yes, it is. She was terribly excited about it, having never witnessed such a thing. She went on to say, what this makes no sense at all. It was a figure our youngest son had seen on a couple of occasions, but the cleaner was unaware of this at the time. Despite all this, it is an amazing place to live. It is a beautiful home. We are happy here, and generally it has a lovely atmosphere in spite of the stories. But on the odd occasion, when someone or something does occur, I must stress, it is only occasionally, it reminds you that there are some things which are beyond our understanding. A spokesperson from We Buy Any Homes said, whether you believe in ghosts or not, it's undeniable that some places, for whatever reason, just give us the creeps. Whether it be the old-fashioned decor, the eerie silence that hangs over the property, or the footsteps on the landing in the dead of night, some properties give the feeling that they may be occupied by something or someone else. Andrea said that when her sons were younger, their friends refused to sleep over at Athelhampton Hall because of doors being agitated, figures at the end of your bed, figures standing in doorways, the sound of rapid footsteps backwards and forwards in your bedroom. And, of course, the ape whacking it in the corner of the room. There you go.
Yeah, that's always an interesting conversation starter, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
All right, that's it for this edition. We'll be back tomorrow. Rob and Trish McGregor are here as we discuss things that go bump in the night and the secrets of spirit communication. Back to enlighten and entrance us with their strange tales of supernatural happenings. Make sure you tune in for the best of Paranormal Talk Radio tomorrow, a brand new episode of Beyond the Darkness.